Good day, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Sir Andrino, and I will be talking to you about the elements and principles of art. So, let's get things started. Okay, now, the elements and principles of art have been around and they are used to help the artist create and critique. Okay, so the elements of art is composed of the following: we have line, shape, color, value, form, texture, and space, while the principles of art is composed of balance, contrast, emphasis, movement, pattern, rhythm, and unity. Again, elements of art composed of line, shape, color, value, form, texture, and space, and the principles of art composed of balance, contrast, emphasis, movement, pattern, rhythm, and unity. Now, I have a question. What's the difference between the elements and the principles of art? Okay, we'll answer that one by the end of the video. Okay, now let's discuss. So let's start first with the first element of art, and that is line. Line is, of course, created using a pen, pencil, or any tool. It could be also be created by a brush. Now, lines, of course, made up of your straight lines, curved lines, even the doodles. Then we have your second element, and the second element is shape. Shape can come in many types and sizes. You have your geometric shapes, your circles, your squares, your rectangles, and also some shapes which are organic. These are shapes that cannot be distinguished, but you know they are forming something. Now, shapes are normally in two-dimensional form. Then the third element is color. Color can be bright, dull, dark, or light. And you have to understand that color is also significant in the elements of art because it carries certain symbolism. Okay, it's like, for example, when you talk about the color red, what comes into mind? It can be a symbol for love, for war. And then you have here value. Value refers to the dark and light in a painting or drawing. Okay, so value refers to if you're shading something or you're forming shadows, that's basically value. It also sets the mood for your painting or drawing. Then you have here your form. Now, earlier we mentioned that shape deals with two-dimensional objects. Form, on the other hand, is geometric but deals with three-dimensional objects. So how can you make an object look three-dimensional in a painting, in a drawing? And then you have here your texture. That's the next element. Texture is how a surface of something looks or feels. And then the last element is space. It creates illusion. It creates illusions of space in an artwork. Okay, so some artworks that are small may look big, or some artwork which are big may look small. So that's the talent applied by the artist right there. So again, line, shape, color, value, form, texture, and space. Next up, we have here the principles of art. Again, it's balance, contrast, emphasis, movement, pattern, rhythm, and unity. So, let's start first with the first principle, which is balance. Balance is the arrangement of things in an artwork. Okay, so how do you arrange certain elements in your artwork? So, if this is particularly useful in photography. In photography, you have to arrange certain objects, your model, for example, and all. It's also applied in making carvings and in making sculptures. Contrast is the difference between elements in an artwork. The most basic of contrast is the use of color. For example, white background, and then the objects in the back in that painting or that artwork is a darker color. So it needs to contrast. Then you have emphasis. Emphasis is the creation of a focal point in an artwork. Now, underline the term focal point. Okay, so focal point refers to the first object or the first thing you see in a painting. So that's where your eyes are directly drawn. And then you have your movement. How does an artwork get around? Or rather, how do we get around in an artwork, rather? So, this is particularly applied for big paintings like murals. So, you tend to look around what's happening. And then you have here your... Okay, hi, I have no time, so I'm just going to make this as quick as possible. So, principles of art. Okay, so we have here a pattern. Pattern refers to objects or items in an artwork that are repeating. This is common mostly in clothing. This is particularly common also in fashion as well. Okay, so and then rhythm. Rhythm refers to the arrangement of shapes in a way which creates an underlying beat. So let's say the same brush stroke, the same pencil stroke or markings, that sort of thing. Okay, so yeah, I'm done. I have no time. And lastly, you have unity. Unity is how everything inside your artwork is not just arranged, but how can you unite them? What's the uniting factor for it? So again, principles of art: balance, contrast, emphasis, movement, pattern, rhythm, and unity. Okay, so going back to our first question, what's the difference between the elements and the principles of art? I'll give you around 5 seconds to answer. Okay, so the difference between the elements and the principles of art is elements of art is used for painting, drawing, and sketching. So when you draw or paint, you apply line, shape, color, value, form, texture, and space. But you have to understand, there are different kinds of artworks there, not just drawing and painting. I mentioned before, you have sculptures, statues, carvings, photography, even theater and filmmaking. Now, this is where the principles of art can be applied. Balance, contrast, emphasis, movement, pattern, rhythm, and unity. Those are what you apply for non-painting or non-drawing artworks. Okay, so that's the difference between the two. Now, if you want to be an effective artist, you have to really master or be familiar with the principles and elements of art. Once you have that one, you can play around with everything given to you. And as I mentioned earlier, also in the video, the elements and the principles of art are the ones used to create and critique art. Okay, so that will be it for today. I'll see you next time. My name is Sir Andrino. Goodbye and thank you.